Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Impact Review March 7th. This is the go home show for the lockdown this Sunday. Now, was TNA doing a good job in this last Impact? I have to say yes. There were certain things I wasn't totally fond of, but you know what? It was necessary. Now, I wish to say that Joseph Park was not there tonight. I didn't see him. If anyone did see him at any time, you tell me down below. But I did not see Joseph Park, which, since they haven't really done a big build for him, I can understand that, but I would have liked to see him there. See him near Hulk Hogan's side, or at least talking with someone. That's what I wanted to see. But I didn't see it. Now, I wish to say that... Paper's cooking, sorry. I wish to say that the AJ segment was actually quite good. When they showed in the night, when the producers, where the cameraman went to AJ's home, or wherever AJ was, he was with one of the aces and an eight. It's obvious it's Mr. Anderson. And the bit I felt that was very well done was once the producer came out of the car with the cameraman, and he's asking AJ a question. He didn't really zoom in on Anderson, but it's obvious you can see with the hat, that's Anderson. That looked like Anderson. AJ grabs the producer, rams him into the SUV, and pretty much says, "Get out." Not really rough, but it looked like he scared the shit out of him, which was quite nice. This is a good thing, because you don't know if he's going to join Aces and Eight. This is up in the air now. You never know if this is going to be done on lockdown or afterwards in the next Impact. So I feel this was a very good segment. Does it make me feel good that Aces and Eights is going to get... Am I going to be happy seeing AJ Styles and Aces and Eights? No. Aces and Eights has been a very, very bad faction. It sucks. It does. It's got some good people in it, but now they're no better than Immortal because there's so many people now. There's no way they can get them all over. It's going to be a clusterfuck, which is obvious. Now, which to say that the reveal of the VP wasn't too bad. I do believe that Wes Briscoe was a little botchy in the beginning of his segment. Talking about, well, the Olympics no longer being there. Talking about Angle and how much of a piece of shit he is, which we now know. If you don't know, check with the Off the Rope show's video on Kurt Angle. When it came to the Lou Thesz, Danny Hodges museum segment when Angle had a chance to get in their Hall of Fame. He treated him like shit. So I can't say that kind of meant something for me personally, because hearing that he wasn't willing to go there, that he's a piece of shit. Doesn't mean he isn't a bad guy, but he's still a piece of shit. But anyway, the bit about the fight just before the VP was revealed, and we know that to be Dino Brown. I said the guy was white. I forgot that Dino Brown is a light-skinned guy like myself. I completely forgot that. But I do remember in one of my impacts a while ago, I did say that D'Lo Brown could be the one that could be in Aces and Eights. That was during the time when Al Snow disappeared and D'Lo went in the position to bring in Wes Briscoe, because he was the one that was there. He was the one that voted for Wes to come in. So it makes sense storyline-wise that it had to be D'Lo Brown. And it's good to see D'Lo Brown doing something again, because he doesn't really do anything much anymore. He's in the back. He does his work there. But seeing him being a part of the Aces and Eights doesn't make the faction better, but it does make it at least interesting enough that I don't go to sleep. Because I want to see how well D'Lo Brown is going to be doing with this. I'll be glad to see if he does bring something more, because his segments talking about, when I joined Aces and Eights, I knew, they told me I had backup, that my brothers would be watching my back. It felt more, how can I say this, with the D'Lo Brown segment, it felt more valid. Does that mean Aces and Eights is more valid? No. But it felt more legitimate to me with D'Lo in that segment. Because Aces and Eights right now is still a terrible faction. And I don't think that D'Lo Brown is going to make the faction better. But whenever I see D'Lo Brown, I'll be more interested in watching. Only for him. Because I really don't care. Really. There's nothing there for me. Now, the first match of the night is Austin Aries versus Jeff Hardy. Now, the match is no different from any matches that we've seen between these two. They can do a good match, but we've seen it so many times, it's becoming repetitive. But what really shook it up was the introduction of a carbon footprint right to the face of Jeff Hardy. Now, could this mean that they're finally pushing Matt Morgan into the main event scene? I hope so. Matt has been dropped so many times. When they seem to push him, they drop him. Push him, they drop him. When Anderson was away because he had a concussion, they could have pushed Matt Morgan and then they dropped him. It's been so many times he's been dropped. But I can say in this respect, especially when it came to the segment afterwards saying, I'm sick and tired of this. I am going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to tear up this entire roster to get what I want. That was very, very powerful. I just hope they don't bring him into Aces and Eights now. I'm sure maybe a couple of people say, hey, he's a giant. Let him join. No. They had the opportunity 5 months ago to have him join. It's too late now to just put him in there because how many members of Aces and Eights you got now? At least 9 or 8 members already? Or more? You got D'Lo Brown and then everyone else. It's too many people. I'm going to be sick just to see that AJ Styles may become a part of them. He probably will become a part of Aces and Eight. But the problem here is that they had an opportunity months ago to bring in a Matt Morgan, which would have made the faction much better. But it's too late now. If they're bringing in Matt Morgan now, it's going to be so messy. No one's already going to get over as it is. The person I see that's being pushed the most is Wes Briscoe. The segment before Wes and Angle, that pre-tape of how Angle was talking about Wes was actually quite good. How Wes was brought in, how Wes screwed him over, showing a couple of episodes of Garrett Bischoff, which is an undercarder, and I'm going to bring that up in a few minutes. But that is the most important person that's being brought over. Doc is not being put over. Mike Knox is not being put over. Devon is barely being put over. The only reason he's being seen is because he's an X Division. Not the X, sorry. I'm thinking about what's done with Kenny King. He is the TV champion. That's the only reason he was put over. And that leads me into the... I don't know what to make of this match. Devon and Sting. It's an average match between them. We've seen it before. I don't know if that was an actual fan that threw beer in Sting's face, or was that one of the people in the back who did it. Possibly one of the people in the back. I'll be shocked if it was an actual fan. But after that was done, Sting gets his head rammed into the steps, and our TV champion wins. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if that really was an actual fan. Tell me down below if you believe that was someone you recognize that has been from OVW or someone in the back of TNA. But I felt that that could have been an actual fan. It's not unusual for fans to do kind of crazy crap like that. But I'm trying to think, it could be an actual work, not an actual, that was spontaneous from an actual fan. I don't think it was. Now, I'm going to get into the gut check right now. At least one part. Thank goodness they've taken Taz out of gut check. It's bad enough, and I'm saying commentary still sucks very badly. I don't like Mike Tenay. I don't. I don't like how Taz is working right now. I don't. I wanted Taz and Todd to work together because there was more energy there. But at this moment in time, I'd rather deal with Mike Tenay and Todd than Taz. I want Taz off of commentary. Commentary has become so terrible now, it's driving me up the wall. And I agree with the Sleg Daddy. Sleg Daddy can't stand it. Last week, Taz was gone for a little bit, and I agree with the Sleg Daddy. Commentary was interesting enough that I wasn't annoyed with it. But when he comes back, it's terrible. Either drop Taz from Aces and Eights or take him off commentary and let him work with Aces and Eights. He's not going to get over, which I'm glad. So leave it at that. So, what I said about gut check earlier, having Danny Davis there, who is the one who runs OVW, is actually a wise thing to do. It is. Having the person who runs the developmental territory for TNA actually makes some sense, because now they'll say, ooh, who's Danny Davis? They'll look at the website, they'll see he's the one who runs it, and then he will be the one that will bring people to look at the OVW product. they're still a separate company, even if they are developmental territory. Developmental territory. So they need profit to keep going. They only get a certain amount from TNA. So it's good to actually see them do this. I'm actually quite happy they did this. Now, I'm not talking about gut check yet. No. That's coming later. Now, the mixed tag. It's 6-man mixed tag, actually. With Superman Hernandez, with Chavo and Gail Kim. With Sky, with... Wait a minute, I got that backwards. Sorry. You got Superman Hernandez with Velvet Sky, with Bad Influence with Gail Kim. I don't know why I got them mixed up, because it kind of felt like... I mean, its purpose was to get the knockouts ready for lockdown. That's the only reason it was there. Really. That's what I felt. That was the only reason that was there. So, early in that night, I'll give you a little back of it. When Gail gets slapped in the face by Velvet Sky, that leads into this match. That's the only reason it was there. But Gail goes over. You had to have her go over because you need a credible opponent for Miss Velvet Sky. Miss Fake Boobs herself. Which she kind of looked nice. But it's not the point. The point is that, am I interested in this match coming in lockdown? Actually, no. There's no build for it. But I am interested in what's going to happen in lockdown when it comes to the, and you're gonna be surprised to hear this, Robbie E and Robbie T, the match in lockdown. I said it, and a couple other people said it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Oh yes, baby. We are going to have Rob Terry go up against Robbie E at lockdown, and Robbie E shows his broken picture and basically says, "You don't outshine another bro. I'm going to make sure you suffer for this. I'm going to make sure you're going to get it." We're going to have a match. Now, does this mean they're going to break off after this and then Rob is going to be doing something and then Robbie E is going to be doing something? No, I don't believe that. It's too soon for them to break up in the way of a feud. Having one match at lockdown will be too stupid. As much as we don't want them together, they can't be separated yet. So this match is the catalyst for a Rob Terry to springboard off, hopefully back into the television title. Take that title off of Devon and put it onto Rob Terry. That's who I'm hoping will get the title. Because he had it in 2009 into 2010. Let him get that title again and then push him beyond that, going into the world title. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's what I'm hoping for. Now, the segment in The Office with Sting having all his dream team there was actually quite good. No one talked but Sting. Now, I'm sure a couple of people would have wanted to hear Magnus talk or Samoa Joe talk, particularly a James Storm. And I'm sure on the Off the Rope show, Dick Stone wanted to hear his brother talk. Actually, it's his cousin. But wanted to hear him just tell everybody how good he is. I can understand that. I wouldn't mind Storm, only Storm talking, because he hasn't had much of an opportunity to really talk. I wouldn't mind a Magnus talk. You don't really need Samoa Joe. You didn't really need Eli to talk. Eli did talk later, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But seeing all of them being put over by Sting is the most important thing you need to have for lockdown. He pretty much said they must be focused on the goal, and that's to kick their asses in that cell, which I didn't have a problem with. And then seeing ODB right next to her, man, and I said this clearly, that ODB would still be a part of it, and you did not see a belt on her either. Like I said, the Knockouts tag belts have been retired, probably for a while. I don't know if they're ever going to bring them back. You never know. But right now, seeing her with her man is perfect sense. You need that. And seeing her juggle those big titties, beautiful woman. I'm not saying that big breasts make a woman, ladies and gentlemen. They look nice, but that doesn't make a great relationship. But it does make it fun to grab onto. Now, I'm going to lead into the segment for James Storm and Anderson. They actually have some pretty good chemistry in the ring. But the problem here is that Anderson hasn't been seen in so long. I didn't have that much interest in him. He does a good match, but I wasn't interested that much in Anderson. I didn't even think he was credible. But the point here is that it wasn't him being credible. It was him getting over so Aces and Eights would have the advantage going into lockdown, which they did. At the end of the match, just before the super kick, you got both groups coming together, Aces and Eights and the Dream Team. And Anderson wins by roll-up. No, not roll-up. It kind of felt like a roll-up, even though that it was a mic check that got the win. It felt too easy. That's why I said it was a roll-up. Because it was a mic check that put out Storm. But really, it felt like an easy win. And it would have been better to have something more interesting. I don't know. Maybe they could have had the DQ. What they did later in the night, at the end, they could have done there. That's how I felt. That match could have been the ending of it. Instead of Hardy and Bully Ray being the end. That's how I felt it could have been. It would have been better for me then. And I'll get into Hardy and Bully Ray right now. Hardy and Bully Ray. Two faces going up against each other in lockdown. What does this give us? Well, I'm proud of you, Hardy. I'm proud you went past your demons. I'm proud you came back. Oh, I'm proud of you, Bully. You done good. Proud of each other. I might actually put that somewhere in my title. But they did what they needed to do. They tried to get each other over, but it felt awkward a little bit. You see, having two faces going up against each other isn't something that's totally bad. Sometimes the faces are just right. It'll work. But the problem here is this. Hardy's a much more stronger face than Bully Ray. And even though Bully Ray is getting over as a face, or in betweener, but really as a face, it just doesn't seem right. It feels like Bully Ray should be cursing his ass off at Jeff Hardy, then trying to compliment him. And this is for me personally. Anyone else, you can leave a comment below how you feel about it. But Bully Ray didn't do a bad segment. Really, he didn't. But the problem here is this. Bully Ray is a much more better heel. He is. And I feel like he's going against the grain with this. Even though he could be more better as a betweener than a full face. But he's not a betweener. He's not. He's a full face. Or at least trying to get over as a full face. And it just feels awkward for me. And then, like I said, when it came to the end, just like what happened with Storm and Anderson, both locker rooms come out. The Aces and Eight locker room comes out from the back. And the TNA locker room comes out from the back. Beat each other up. And that's how you see the ending of the show. It wasn't bad seeing that. And especially they did camera angles that were much better than WWE. If you notice that when the Shield comes in and starts fighting people, that they keep going in and out with the camera to try and make it more dramatic. But I felt like that really doesn't make it more dramatic. For me personally, having close angles and shifting from one place to another as often as possible, but still leaving enough time that you can see the fight, to me is more dramatic. Anyone else? Tell me. But to me, I'd rather have seen them keep doing, the WWE do what TNA is doing when it comes to those factions when they're having a fight. Zoom in on one of them for a moment or so, then zoom out, then zoom in on one person, or not zoom at all, just pan if you can. That means more to me than just zooming in and out, trying to make it dramatic, giving you a headache. Now, X Division with Kenny King, Long Live the King, yeah baby. He is now X Division champion. And then he says in his short promo going to lockdown, he didn't have a match. Why? You didn't have to show so much a lockdown preview going into an older lockdown. You could have let Kenny King have a match, or at least have a segment in the ring. I would have liked to have that in the ring. Have his segment in the ring because he is X Division champion. He deserves to be in the ring. So he says simply, he puts RVD over, which I wish he didn't. But he does put himself over later saying, I am the best there is. I am the one who will keep this belt. If you think I did all I had to get this now, think about what I'm going to do to keep it. Good. I'm glad about this. We didn't get Zima Ion build for Jesse Sorensen to come back. Fine. Having Kenny King is just as good. There's nothing wrong with Kenny King holding that belt. He has the charisma, he has the size, he has the look, he has good in-ring presence, he has a good ability to tell a story in the ring. And I like his promo segments. He's doing good. Great king of the X Division and professional wrestling, Kenny King. Now, shall I get this over with? Shall I actually begin? Why not? And I wish to say, I'm doing gut check now. This is the last bit that I'm going to be doing. I'm making sure I didn't forget anything. Nope, didn't forget nothing. This is about gut check now. Now, I wish to say before this happens, I did a video, and I'll probably connect it to this, my thoughts on Paul Bearer, William Motley, if that's his full name. That's what they pronounce it as. I've done that video out of respect to a man who truly made a great man and many men, particularly The Undertaker. I'm going to be connecting that down below. And the reason I'm saying this is because they showed, unlike the WWE, because I haven't heard nothing yet. Maybe it will be on the SmackDown. Maybe it will be. They have done it on their website. And I'm hoping they'll do something when it comes to SmackDown. Seeing it on the website is one thing, but if they don't show some type of respect and tribute to him on SmackDown, I will get upset. If they don't do something for the next Raw, I will get upset. But I can say with this Impact, they opened with Paul Bearer being shown, and they're saying they miss him. Bruce Pitcher himself and Al Snow also showed respect, missing him. And it's legitimate. They know each other very well. And now he's gone. So, going into gut check, Evelise Velez and Leda Tapa. I said in my previous video from Impact, and I know that one person left a response down below saying that Evelise Velez is much better. She does MMA. She's been around 9 years. This woman, Leda Tapa, has only been there 2 years. And she was being called a guy. I can understand the reason why people are acting the way they are. And I'm sure more than a few people who see my videos have thought that. But I'm seeing it from a long-term perspective. When you look at women's wrestling, who has been one of the most influential women right now in the last 5 to 10 years? That was Awesome Kong. Miss Awesome Kong, who we also know as Karma. She no longer wrestles. So what would have made the WWE great and what made TNA great was her. She blew away everyone in the Knockouts division. And that's what made the Knockouts so interesting. At least one of the reasons. They did great storylines with the Knockouts, but they had a monster in the Knockouts who terrified and terrorized everything. We haven't had that in years. And when it came to deciding between Evelise Velez and Leda Tapa, when all three, the gut check, and I'm glad they brought back the part about talking about it before they actually did it. They chose Leda Tapa in the final round instead of Evelise Velez. Now, I'm sure many people and the crowd there was no canned heat. That was the crowd disgusted that Evelise Velez didn't get that last spot before they find out she's getting a contract tonight. They were booing their asses off. They could not stand her. They could not stand Leda Tapa. But I ask you this honestly, ladies and gentlemen. And I said this before in my previous review. And like I said before, I wasn't being racist about, do you want another Spanish woman? It could be another white person. It could be another black person. But I'm seeing it by the perspective of what are you getting? Are you getting another small wrestler who can do MMA or submission, who probably would do all right and may reach up into the title, which she probably would, but wouldn't give such an impact than a very large woman? Yes, green as fuck. There is no way you can deny how green she is. But the problem is this. People see smaller wrestlers as aerial specialists, as maybe submission specialists. They don't want to see something that can be more dramatic, more eye-catching, more of an impact in a division. And that's the reason why I said Leda Tapa from Tonga, she deserved to get that contract. In the end, she did. They saw exactly what I see. And I'm not saying that she will be directly on the roster. She's going to go straight to OVW. I'm sure of it. If she's actually on the show itself, she better have some really good training before she does, if they're going to shoot her over there really quickly. Because I'm actually worried that even though she has the size, she doesn't have the full charisma. You can hear in her voice that she still has some hesitation in her talk. She has ring presence, but you can hear on the mic she needs work. Her in-ring work needs work. So I'm hoping they'll let her stay at least on OVW for about a year, then bring her back. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I saw how angry people were in the Impact Zone when they found out she was booed so badly. I don't think she was used to getting that type of boos. I don't think she was used to getting that type of response. So when she kept going back to them saying, "Shut up!" she really felt awkward about it. That's the reason why her mic didn't sound proper. It sounded very jerky. She seemed very nervous. And I could understand. So she gets the contract. And how is this entire show? I have to say a solid B. I would have liked to see Joseph Park on the show. I would have liked to see a segment with Robbie T. Seeing D'Lo Brown as the VP doesn't fill me with a great feeling for aces and eights, but I'm not bored when I look at him. But when he's not there, I don't give a fuck. But this is a solid B show leading into lockdown, so let's hope everything works out. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane's View. Subscribe and comment to my channel, and I will be leaving a connection below for my thoughts on Paul Bearer. You all have a good day. Have a good night.